Milo worked on an old trade ship called the Wren. It was not fast, not strong, and not very clean. But it was home. He was a mechanic, and his job was to fix broken things. Pipes leaked, doors jammed, and engines made strange noises. Milo liked quiet work. He didn't like trouble. That day, the Wren stopped near a dead zone in space. A signal was coming from a floating wreck of broken alien ship. The captain wanted to scavenge it. There could be rare metal or tech inside. Milo joined the team. Carrying a toolkit and a flashlight, the alien ship was silent and dark. No power, no air, no movement. Its walls were smooth and silver, almost like skin. The crew split up to search. Milo took the lower deck. He followed a hallway with strange markings. At the end, he found a locked door. It looked different, newer. He opened it slowly. Inside was a small chamber with a large metal pod in the middle. The pod was covered in frost. A faint blue light blinked on its side. It looked like a stasis pod used to keep someone or something frozen. Milo stepped closer. His heart beat faster. The pod clicked. It hissed. Steam rolled out. Milo stepped back as the lid opened with a slow creak. Inside was a girl. She looked young, maybe close to his age. Her skin was a rich teal color, smooth and clean. Her dark hair was long and fell across her shoulders. Her eyes opened slowly, sharp, glowing faintly yellow. She sat up without saying a word. Milo froze. He wanted to call for help, but his voice stuck. The girl looked at him, tilting her head slightly. Her face was calm, but her eyes watched every movement. She stepped out of the pod, barefoot and silent. Hello, Milo said, raising his hands. Can you understand me? She didn't answer. She looked around the room, then back at him. She walked closer. Milo didn't move. She stood in front of him, just staring. Her face held no fear, no anger, just quiet thought. You're not going to hurt me, right? He asked. Still no answer. Then she did something strange. She reached out and touched his shirt. Just a small touch. Her fingers were warm. Then she walked past him and out the door. Milo blinked. When he returned to the ship, the girl followed him. The others were shocked. Weapons were raised. The captain shouted questions. Milo stood between them. She was frozen in a pod. He said, "She didn't attack. She followed me." The girl said nothing. She stood calmly behind him. Her eyes scanned the crew like a soldier measuring a threat. After some arguing, the captain allowed her to stay only for now. They locked down most areas and kept guards close. Milo brought her food. She only sniffed it and pushed it away. She didn't eat, didn't drink, and didn't speak. She just sat near Milo's workspace and watched him work. The crew started to whisper, "Is she a spy? Is she a weapon? Should we throw her off the ship?" Milo didn't care. Something told him she wasn't what they thought. He started calling her Ruva, name he made up because she wouldn't give one. Late one evening, a loud alarm rang through the ship. Raiders were attacking. Small ships had locked onto them and were trying to board. Everyone ran to stations. Milo grabbed a tool and ran to help fix the jammed airlock. Then he saw Ruva move. She ran through the hallway like wind. Her body moved with perfect balance, no fear, no panic. She reached the raiders before the guards did. In seconds, she brought 3 of them down with quick, silent strikes. No weapons, just hands, feet, and speed. The crew stared in shock. She looked back at them, her face still calm. The rest of the raiders fled. Later, a message came through the main comms. It was from a nearby military base. The warning was clear: a deadly alien subject has escaped from a high-security facility. She is extremely dangerous. Do not engage. Report sightings immediately. A picture appeared on the screen. It was her. Ruva. Milo felt cold. He quietly deleted the message before anyone else saw it. That night, Ruva sat near his bunk. She didn't speak, but she watched him. Her eyes were softer now, like she was thinking deeply. Milo lay down, tired from the day. He closed his eyes. A few minutes later, he felt something. Ruva had climbed onto the small space beside him. She curled up, gently, resting her head on his chest. Her body was light and warm. She let out a soft purring sound, like a content animal finding peace for the first time. Milo didn't move. He just looked up at the ceiling, his heart full of questions. What was she? Why did she follow him? And why, even after all the danger, did he feel safer with her there? Since the night Ruva slept on his chest, Milo had not been able to stop thinking. She was calm and silent during the day, but every night she came to his small bunk, curled beside him, and fell asleep. She purred softly like a peaceful creature. Finding comfort, it didn't feel like she was dangerous. It felt like she was lost and just trying to feel safe. But Milo had not told the crew about the warning message. He had deleted it. He didn't want them to panic. He didn't want anyone to hurt her. The captain, however, was starting to ask more questions. Ruva had defeated the raiders with no weapon, no armor, and no fear. That was not normal. She moved like she had done it many times before. The crew grew nervous. They began avoiding her. When she walked into a room, people walked out. Some whispered that she might be a spy or even a killer. Milo stayed close to her. She followed him everywhere, always quiet, always alert. She still didn't talk much. Sometimes she said one or two words. Once, when he asked if she was hungry, she simply said, no. When he asked if she was scared, she said, not anymore. Ruva had strange habits. She didn't like lights. She always faced the door. She could sit still for hours. When Milo dropped a tool, she caught it in the air without looking. Her eyes moved like scanners, always aware of her surroundings. One evening, the ship received another signal. This time, the message could not be ignored. It came directly to the bridge, loud and clear. This is a priority message from the Valeri. Authority, the voice said. You are traveling with a stolen subject. She is known as Weapon Code R7. Return her immediately. She is dangerous. She is not what she appears to be. A picture appeared again. It was Ruva. The captain called. A meeting. Everyone gathered in the dining area. Tension filled the room. We need to talk, the captain said. We were warned. She is a weapon. A project created by an alien empire that no longer exists. That's what the message said. She hasn't hurt anyone, Milo replied. She saved us. If not for her, we'd be prisoners or dead. Or maybe she brought them here, someone said. Ruva stood in the corner, arms crossed. She did not respond. Her face was unreadable. We don't know what she's thinking, said the ship's medic. We don't know what she's capable of. She's not hurting anyone, Milo repeated. She's not talking either, the captain said. That's the problem. Later, Milo sat with Ruva in the engine room. She watched him fix a loose panel. Her head tilted slightly, like she was studying him. Why won't you tell them who you are? Milo asked softly. I don't want them to be afraid. She said. Her voice was low but clear. Are you really a weapon? I was made for war, she said. Trained to fight. Built to survive. Built, he repeated. I am not born like you. My body is grown, designed. My mind is trained with memory patterns. My purpose was destruction. But I escaped that. Milo looked at her carefully. Why did you follow me? You didn't look at me like the others did. She said, you didn't see a threat. You saw a person. There was a silence between them. Milo looked down at his hands. You don't have to go back, he said. I know. That night, Ruva did not sleep right away. She stayed by the window, looking out into space. Milo lay in his bunk, watching her. Her face looked softer in the dim light. When she finally lay down beside him, she did not curl up right away. She lay still, eyes open. What are you thinking? Milo asked. That they won't stop chasing me, she said. The Valeri will come, and this time, they will bring more than a message. Milo wanted to say something brave, but no words came. She turned toward him and rested her head on his chest. The soft purring began again, gentle, steady. Milo closed his eyes and listened to the sound. The next morning, the ship's sensors picked up movement in deep space. A fast ship was approaching. It had no ID code and did not respond to hails. The crew started to prepare for trouble. Ruva stood beside Milo on the observation deck. That is a scout. She said, they are scanning for me. Can we outrun them? No. But they will not attack now. They are only watching. Milo looked at her. How do you know? Because that's what I would do. She said, I would study first, learn the weakness. Her voice had no fear. It was just fact. The ship passed without contact. But the warning was clear, they were being tracked. The captain pulled Milo aside. We can't keep her here forever, he said. You know that. I won't let you turn her in, Milo said. You might not have a choice. Milo returned to Ruva, who was sitting alone in the storage bay. She was holding a small piece of metal and turning it in her fingers like a toy. They're scared of me, she said before he could speak. They don't understand you. They're right to be afraid, she said. Why? She looked at him. Because I'm still learning who I am. I don't even know yet if I'm dangerous. Milo sat beside her. You saved us. That means something. Ruva didn't answer. She just leaned against him. Her body was warm, and her breath was steady. Milo didn't move. He just let her stay close. In that moment, he didn't see a weapon. He didn't see a machine. He saw a soul trying to be free. Days passed quietly on the Ren. The ship moved through space, staying away from known trade routes. The crew tried to act normal, but everyone knew they were being watched. The Valeri were out there, searching. The scout ship had been the first. Ruva kept to herself during the day, moving silently through the halls. She rarely spoke to the others, but she followed Milo wherever he went. She stayed near his workshop, sitting in the corner while he worked with tools and wires. She watched everything, how he fixed panels, how he cleaned filters, how he used his hands. Milo talked while he worked. He told her about his home on Earth, about his mother's garden, about how he had always wanted to fly ships but ended up fixing them instead. Ruva listened. Sometimes she nodded. Sometimes her face showed small reactions, surprise, amusement, even a little smile. One afternoon, while Milo was repairing a damaged console, he cut his finger. It was a small wound. But Ruva moved quickly. She took his hand and looked at the cut. It's fine, he said. She touched it gently. Her hand was warm. Her fingers pressed around the wound with careful precision. I can fix this, she said. She placed her palm over his hand and closed her eyes. A soft warmth spread across his skin. The pain faded. When she pulled her hand away, the cut was gone. Milo stared at it. How did you do that? I was built to heal, she said. Damage slows soldiers down. I fixed fast. He looked at her face. She didn't seem proud or surprised. She said it like it was just a fact. You're full of surprises, he said. I don't know all of them yet, she replied. That night, Milo couldn't sleep. He sat near the window of his small room, staring into the stars. Ruva walked in quietly. She didn't ask permission. She never did. She sat beside him. Do you miss your planet? She asked. Milo thought for a moment. Sometimes. But I left a long time ago. It doesn't feel like home anymore. Ruva looked out the window. I've never had a planet. I've only known ships, labs, and dark places. I don't know what a home feels like. Milo looked at her. Maybe you're finding one now. She didn't answer, but her eyes looked softer. After a few minutes, she moved to his bunk and lay down. She waited for him to join her. When he did, she rested her head on his chest, and the quiet purring returned. It was steady and calm. Milo closed his eyes and let sleep take him. The next day, Ruva started doing small things with Milo. She handed him tools without being asked. She learned names of wires and parts. She fixed a broken fan by watching him once. Her memory was sharp. She never forgot anything. Milo laughed. You're better at this than I am. I remember everything, she said. You still don't talk much. I'm learning what matters. Later, Milo took her to the ship's food bay. He showed her how to cook basic meals. Ruva was curious about taste. She tried one bite of sweet fruit and made a strange face. Too soft, she said. She liked crunchy things. She didn't like anything too hot or too cold. She liked the color of green vegetables, but not the taste. Milo smiled while watching her explore food like a curious child. One time, while walking through the cargo hold. They passed a mirror. Ruva stopped and stared at her reflection. Milo stood beside her. "You don't like mirrors? I don't know who I see. You see Ruva," he said. She touched the glass. "I see what I was made to be, not what I want to be." "What do you want to be?" She looked at him. "Free." That night, Ruva came to Milo's room again. But instead of lying down, she stood by the door. "If I stay with you," she said, "you will be in danger." "I already am," Milo replied. "The Valeri will come. I don't care." She stepped closer. "Why do you help me?" Milo stood up. He looked her in the eyes. "Because you're not a machine. You're not a weapon. You're someone who deserves a chance." Ruva looked at him for a long moment. Then, without a word, she stepped forward and placed her forehead against his chest. It was a simple touch, but full of emotion. Her purring began, gentle and low. The next day, a small signal was detected near the route. It was hidden, faint, but Ruva noticed it first. "They are close," she said. "They are scanning for me." The captain grew worried. He started making plans to drop Ruva off at the next station. Milo argued, "We can't just leave her." He said, "She's a danger to this crew." The captain replied, "She's one of us now. She's not human. She saved us." The crew was divided. Some sided with Milo. Others feared what might happen if the Valeri found them. Ruva heard everything. She said nothing. That evening, she did not sleep in Milo's room. She sat alone in the empty hangar, staring at the stars. Milo found her there. "You left," he said. "I thought you'd be safer," she replied. "I'm not safe without you." She turned to him. Her eyes were calm but full of emotion. "You are the first person who didn't look at me with fear." Milo stepped close. "You are the first person who ever made me feel like I matter." For the first time, Ruva smiled. A real smile. Milo sat beside her. They watched the stars together, side by side. And even in the silence, their bond spoke louder than words. The mood on the Wren was changing. The crew no longer spoke openly in the halls. They moved with caution, eyes often drifting toward the ship's scanners. Everyone knew the Valeri were searching. The scout ship had been just the beginning. Milo worked harder than before. He upgraded the engines and improved the radar systems. He ran quiet drills with the rest of the team, learning how to shut down systems fast and hide from sensors. The captain had changed their route again and again, but the feeling remained. Danger was getting closer. Ruva stayed calm through it all. She never looked afraid. She continued to help Milo, fixing wires, checking systems, and learning how the ship worked. But her eyes often drifted to the stars. She was waiting. One evening, while Milo worked on a shield panel, Ruva walked in with something small in her hand. "I made this," she said. It was a tiny model of the Wren, built from scrap parts. The size of her palm, detailed and clean. "You made this from memory?" Milo asked. "I watched everything. I remember everything." He smiled. "You're amazing." She didn't react, but she placed the model gently on his work table. "This ship is slow. It can't run forever." Milo looked at her. "I know. They will send more. Bigger ships, faster ones, so we'll find a way to hide. They don't want to catch me. They want to erase me." Milo stood up. "I won't let them. You can't stop them alone. Then we'll face them together." Ruva looked into his eyes for a long time. Then she nodded once. That was enough. Later that night, while the rest of the crew slept, Milo and Ruva sat in the dark near the rear cargo door. They talked quietly, voices low. Milo asked, "Why do they want you gone?" "I was made to lead others like me," Ruva said. "But I ask questions. I refuse to follow some orders. They call me unstable." "What kind of orders?" "To destroy cities. To remove everything, even life that wasn't fighting back." Milo stayed silent. "I disobeyed." She said, "I protected life. They feared that. They said kindness was weakness. They locked me away. I escaped during a system shutdown." "You weren't wrong," Milo said. "You were right." She looked at him. "But being right doesn't keep you safe." The next morning, the ship's alarm rang. A signal was approaching fast, no response. No ID, high speed. The Valeri had found them. The captain gathered everyone on the bridge. They're too fast, the pilot said. We can't outrun them. We have to try, the captain replied. Milo, step forward. We need to use the smuggler tunnels. The crew turned to him. The smuggler tunnels were old and full of sharp turns. But they were hidden inside an asteroid belt nearby, dangerous, but almost invisible to scanners. The captain hesitated, then nodded. Do it? Milo rushed to engineering. Ruva was already there. She had pulled up the map and was marking turns. They will follow, she said. Then we make them lose us. They entered the asteroid belt. The ship shook with each turn. The rocks were massive and moving slowly, pushed by ancient gravity. The wren flew between them, twisting and diving. Ruva stood near the window, tracking the Valeri ship on the radar. They are staying back, watching. They're waiting for us to crash, Milo said. No, they're setting a trap. Just then, the second signal appeared. Another Valeri ship had circled around the other side. They were surrounded. They knew we would run, Ruva said. They planned this. The captain's voice came through the intercom. We have to hide the ship in the shadows. Shut everything down. No power. No signals. The crew obeyed. Lights went off. Engines cooled. Systems went silent. The wren drifted slowly behind a large asteroid, hidden in its shadow dot inside the dark ship. Milo and Ruva sat together. Only emergency lights gave them a faint glow. Ruva closed her eyes. They won't wait forever. What do they want now? They want me to come willingly. They'll try to take me quietly, to avoid a scene. But if I run again, they will destroy everything around me. Milo clenched his fists. There has to be another way. There is. I can leave. No, I don't want to, she said softly. But I don't want you hurt either. You saved us once. We'll return the favor. Suddenly, a light blinked on the main panel. A boarding signal. One of the Valeri ships had sent a small craft to dock. Silently, they're here, Ruva said. Milo grabbed his toolkit. Then let's be ready. Ruva didn't move right away. She looked at Milo and placed her hand on his shoulder. If anything happens, don't follow me. Promise me. No promises, he said. They moved quickly and quietly. They reached the airlock just as it opened. 3 tall figures stepped into the ship, silver armor, smooth helmets, silent weapons. Valeri hunters. They didn't speak. Ruva stepped forward. You want me? The lead figure nodded. You belong to us. No, she said. You were made by us. You are not finished. You are still one of the tools. I'm not a tool, Ruva said. I'm free. Then why do you hide behind humans? Milo stepped beside her. Because we don't treat her like a weapon. The lead Valeri raised his hand. Move aside. Human. Milo didn't move. In a flash. The Valeri raised his weapon. Ruva reacted faster than anyone could. See? She moved between them and disarmed the attacker in one strike. The weapon clattered to the ground. The second hunter charged. Ruva fought with smooth, perfect speed. She moved like water. Every strike precise. In seconds, the attackers were on the ground, unable to move. Milo stared. She was powerful, but controlled. Not angry, not cruel. Just skilled. She turned to him, breathing steady. They will send more. Then we keep moving. No. Now we fight. Milo looked at her. You're ready? I have you, she said. That's enough. And for the first time, she smiled again. Not the smile of a machine. The smile of someone who had made a choice. The air inside the wren was heavy. After the fight, the crew stood in silence, staring at the fallen Valeri hunters on the floor. No one had expected Ruva to face them like that and win so easily. She was fast, calm, and never once showed fear. The captain stepped into the room and looked at the attackers. They came to take her quietly, he said. Next time, they'll bring fire. Milo stood beside Ruva. He could feel her body tense, ready for more danger. She wasn't tired. She wasn't shaken. But something in her eyes had changed. She was thinking deeply, and her thoughts were heavy. We can't wait here anymore, Milo said. They know where we are. Ruva nodded. They'll return with a full ship. Not scouts, soldiers. We can hide in the nebula, the pilot suggested. Thick clouds. Hard to track us there. The captain agreed. The Wren changed course and entered a swirling red nebula that blocked all radar signals. It was dark and strange inside. The ship lights flickered from the dust outside. Everyone moved quietly. Like the silence might help them survive. In the engine room, Milo sat on the floor beside Ruva. He was fixing a loose power cable, but his mind was elsewhere. You were incredible. Back there, he said. I don't like to fight, she replied. You could have left with them. You didn't. I had a choice, she said. And I chose you. Milo looked at her. Why? Ruva's eyes turned to him. Because you remind me that I'm more than what they made. He smiled. Just a little. You don't have to be alone anymore. Ruva leaned back against the wall. But they will keep coming, and they'll use any weakness they find. Milo stayed quiet. That night, Ruva came to his room again. She lay beside him, her head resting gently on his chest. The purring returned soft, calm, steady. Milo held her hand as she fell asleep. He didn't know how long the peace would last, but in that moment, it felt real. The next morning, something unexpected happened. A transmission came through. It was from a human military outpost nearby. They had picked up signals of a battle and were offering help. The message sounded clear, friendly, and safe. But Ruva frowned as she listened. This isn't real, she said. What do you mean? The captain asked. They're copying human voice tones, but the word spacing is wrong. It's a fake. It's a trap, yes. The Valeri are using this message to pull us in. The captain cursed under his breath. They're learning fast. We should fly around the signal. Source, Milo said. If it's them, we'll know. The captain agreed. As the Wren moved closer, a new signal locked onto them. No warning. No chance to run. A massive Valeri ship appeared through the dust. Larger than any they had seen before. It blocked their path, weapons ready, shields glowing. Faintly in the clouds, we're caught, the pilot said. They waited for us, Ruva said. They let us hide, then let us hear. A voice came through the comms, calm and cold. R7. You are surrounded. Surrender, and no one will be harmed. If you resist, we will destroy the ship. Everyone turned to Ruva. She stood still, face unreadable. I can go, she said. They want me. Not you. No, Milo said. You're not giving up. If I don't, you'll all die. We'll find another way. The Valeri ship began powering its weapons. Time was running out. Suddenly, Ruva stepped forward. I'll go, she said. No, Milo repeated, grabbing her arm. She looked at him, calm but sad. I'm not afraid. I just don't want you to suffer. Milo's voice shook. You're not just something to trade away, I know. But I can't let them hurt you. The captain looked at them both. We'll distract them, by time. But we need a plan. Milo turned to Ruva. Do you still have the signal code? The one that connects to other systems like you? Ruva paused. Yes, but I've never used it fully. It was locked for safety. Can you unlock it now? I'll try. Ruva sat in the center of the command room. She closed her eyes and began to focus. Her hands hovered over a console, not touching it, but sending silent signals through the air. The lights flickered. The screens glowed. Outside the ship, a strange sound echoed through the nebula. It was deep, metallic, and powerful. Far in the distance, hidden machines in the asteroid fields began to wake. Old war machines, forgotten and left in sleep, responded to the signal. A wave of energy surged across space. Ruva opened her eyes. They're coming, she said. Who? Milo asked. Others like me, she whispered. But not alive. Just machines built by the same hands. The Valeri ship began to react. They noticed the activation. They tried to block the signal. But it was too late. Through the clouds, large shapes moved. Old ships, war drones, giant metal creatures. They all locked onto the Valeri ship and opened fire. The battle had begun. The Wren shook as blasts lit up the sky. The crew held on as the activated machines fought the Valeri head-on. Milo pulled Ruva close. What did you do? I called. The forgotten, she said. I gave them one last command. Will it be enough? I don't know. The battle raged on. The Valeri's ship was strong. But the ancient war machines fought like they had waited years for this moment. Finally, the enemy ship began to fall back. Its shields broke. Its engines failed. It slipped into the clouds, damaged and silent. The sky grew still again. The Wren floated, alive. The crew cheered. But Ruva was quiet. Her body looked tired. Her hand shook slightly. Milo held her. You did it? They'll return, she said. This was not the end. Milo nodded. Then we'll be ready. Ruva leaned against him. I don't know what I'm anymore, she said softly. You're Ruva, Milo said. That's enough. And that night, she curled up beside him once more. Not because she was afraid, but because, for the first time, she knew she was not alone. The battle was over, but the Wren was quiet. The crew moved slowly, checking damage and repairing broken systems. Burn marks covered the outer hull, and the engines had taken a hard hit. Still, they were alive. They had escaped the Valeri again. Milo walked through the halls with tired steps. His arms were sore, and his hands were stained with oil and dirt. But his mind was somewhere else. Ruva had not spoken much since the signal. She had used something deep inside her, something powerful. And now she was quieter than before. She sat near the engine room most days, just staring at nothing. Milo stayed close, watching her from time to time. On the third day, she spoke. I feel different. Milo sat beside her. How? Like something inside me is no longer locked. Is that good? I don't know. He looked at her carefully. Her eyes were still sharp, but they had changed. They were softer, warmer. She didn't sit like a soldier anymore. She sat like someone trying to understand herself. You did something big, Milo said. You saved us, again. I didn't do it for the crew, she said. Milo looked at her. I did it for you, Ruva added. Because when I think of safety, I see your face. Milo's heart beat faster, but he didn't show it. He simply nodded and placed his hand on hers. I'm glad you're here, he said. That night, for the first time in days, Ruva came to his room again. She didn't say anything. She just lay beside him, head on his chest, arms gently around him. Her purring returned softer than before, like a quiet song. Milo closed his eyes and listened. In the days that followed, Ruva began to show interest in new things. She asked about music. Milo showed her old recordings from Earth. She didn't like loud sounds, but liked calm tones with soft instruments. One song made her close her eyes for a full minute. It feels like breathing, she said. She also began eating more, trying different tastes. She found that she liked warm bread and sweet tea. She laughed once when Milo dropped a spoon and it bounced across the floor. Milo stared. You laughed, he said. It surprised me, she replied, smiling slightly. The crew noticed her change. Some were still unsure, but many had grown to trust her. The pilot, who had once feared her, now asked her advice on tracking enemy signals. The medic gave her a simple checkup and was surprised to see that her body could heal faster than anything she had seen, yet her heartbeat had slowed to match Milo's. She's adapting, the medic said. Not just her thoughts, her body, too. The captain called a private meeting with Milo. She's growing, the captain said, changing. I know, she's becoming more human. Milo nodded, and more herself. But what does that mean for us? Milo looked out the window. It means we don't give up on her. Soon after, the ship reached a quiet sector in deep space. There was an abandoned science station floating in orbit around a cold, dead moon. It had power, but no crew. The captain decided they would stop there to make larger repairs. Ruva stepped off the Wren and looked at the stars from the empty platform. She stood there alone for a long time. Milo walked up beside her. I've seen this place before, she said. You have? They brought me here once to test my reaction to fear. Milo looked at her, silent. They showed me pain, noise, lights, and told me not to cry. Milo stepped closer. But I cried. Ruva said, I cried when no one was watching. He gently placed his hand on her shoulder. She didn't move away. I'm not afraid now, she said. Not with you. That night, they sat in the old control room of the station. The glass windows looked out over the stars. Milo played soft music from his device, and Ruva sat beside him with her head resting on his shoulder. What do you want to do when we're free of the Valeri? He asked. Ruva was quiet for a moment. I want to walk on grass, real grass. I want to feel the sun on my face. I want to lie beside you under the sky and not worry about ships chasing us. Milo smiled. We'll find a place like that. Do you really believe that? I do. Ruva looked at him. Her eyes were full of something new. Not cold, not sharp, not controlled. Hope. I've never believed in tomorrow before, she said. But now, I think I might. Milo didn't speak. He just held her hand. They returned to the Wren the next day. The repairs were done. The engines were strong. Again, the ship felt ready, even though everyone knew the Valeri were still out there. But something was different now. Ruva had changed. She wasn't hiding anymore. She walked through the halls with calm steps. She helped with duties without being asked. She even told a joke once, a simple one, but it made Milo laugh for 5 minutes. You're becoming more like us, he said. No, she replied. I'm becoming more like me. That night, she slept beside him again. But instead of curling quietly, she placed both arms around him and held him close. Milo whispered, You're not a weapon anymore. Ruva whispered back, I never wanted to be. They both fell asleep under the soft hum of the ship, surrounded by stars, dreams, and the feeling that maybe, just maybe, the journey was no longer just about survival. It was about becoming whole. The stars looked still from the bridge of the Wren, but deep space was never truly quiet. The crew stayed alert, always ready to jump or hide. They had learned not to trust calm skies. Milo stood at the main console, checking the ship's sensors. The repairs were holding well. Power levels were stable. The ship was flying smoother than ever. Ruva entered silently, as she often did. She stood beside him, hands behind her back, eyes on the screen. They're close again, she said. Milo nodded. I saw the signal too. A Valeri ship, just one this time. They're searching. Still hunting me. Do you want to run? No. Ruva replied, I want to finish this. Milo turned to her. Her voice was calm, steady. There was no fear in her expression. I've changed, she said. I'm not what they made. I don't belong to them. I know, Milo said. You belong here. With us. She looked at him for a long moment. Then I must protect what I belong to. The captain called a meeting. The Valeri scout ship was small but dangerous, fast, sharp, and made to kill without warning. The crew had one option, to run again. But Ruva shook her head. This time, we end it. Everyone stared at her. I'll go to them, alone. No. Milo said quickly. She turned to him. They don't want this ship. They want me. If I give them what they want, they'll stop. You don't know that. I do. I remember how they think. You won't come back. Ruva stepped closer. I'm not planning to die. Milo's voice grew louder. Then what are you planning? I'm planning to win. He looked into her eyes. They were serious, but not cold. Strong, but not distant. They were hers now. Fully hers. I can't let you do this alone, he said. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to trust me. Ruva prepared a small pod, one that could move fast and quiet. She programmed a false signature, something the Valeri would track. Milo helped her set the course. Once they catch the pod, they'll think they've won, she said. That's when I'll strike. You're sure? I was made to destroy, Ruva said. But I've learned something stronger than destruction. I've learned choice, and I choose to fight for something better. Before she left, she came to Milo's room. He sat on his bunk, holding a small metal chip, part of a comm link he had fixed earlier. Ruva sat beside him. You've shown me things I never knew were possible, she said. You made them possible. I'm not a weapon anymore. No, Milo said. You're a person. The best kind. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Come back. He whispered. Come back to me. She nodded. then stood. I will. She left in silence. The crew watched the pod launch from the hangar. It moved through space like a spark in the dark. Hours passed. Then a signal came through. They caught it, Milo said. Their ship changed course. They think it's her. But Ruva wasn't inside the pod. She had hidden herself aboard the Wren, waiting for the right moment. When the Valeri ship lowered its defenses to absorb the pod, Ruva struck. She moved through the void with stealth gear, using the ship's shadow to hide her signal. She reached their hull, used a magnetic tool to climb, and entered through a maintenance port. Inside, the ship was cold and full of echoes. The crew didn't expect a breach. Ruva moved with skill and silence. She reached the core room. There, she found what she had feared in other creation like her. A second Ruva. This one was still loyal to the Vael died, stared at her with the same eyes, but without warmth. Without freedom. You left your purpose, it said. No, Ruva replied. I found mine. They fought. It was fast, brutal. Sharp limbs moved like wind. Metal struck metal. Sparks flew. But Ruva had something more. She had reason. She had heart. She had Milo's face in her mind and his voice in her memory. And she won. The second Ruva fell. Silent and still, Ruva reached the core and planted the virus Milo had designed. It broke the ship's control systems, shut down its navigation, and disabled its weapons. She escaped just in time. The Wren picked up her signal and raced to meet her. Milo waited by the hangar door, eyes locked on the scanner. The door opened, and there she was, bruised, exhausted, but alive. She stepped forward, and Milo ran to her. You came back. He said, I told you I would. He placed his forehead against hers. You ended it, he whispered. She nodded. The crew gathered around, quiet and respectful. No one asked questions. No one needed to. Later, Ruva stood on the observation deck, looking out into space. Milo joined her. What now? He asked. I don't know, she said. But for once, I'm not afraid of tomorrow. He smiled. Do you still want that planet? The one with grass and sky? Yes, she said. And I want you there too. Then that's where we'll go. She rested her head on his chest. The soft purring returned, peaceful, steady, real. The Wren flew forward, leaving behind the scars of the past and moving toward a future built not by design, but by choice, together.